Now that we've created this concrete slab, you can see that it actually sits down below the edge of the wall. So if we go and have a look at that in elevation, you'll notice that if I select this slab, the very top of it sits so that the ground floor is perfectly level. If I change that to a thicker slab, you can see that that slab thickness goes down. It doesn't go up, as opposed to the wall, which starts at ground floor and then takes up. So I'll just set that back to brick veneer. This level is often referred to the SFL, which means structural floor level. Another expression you might hear is FFL, which stands for finished floor level. And both are just as important, though when they're building a commercial building, obviously the structural floor level will be what they build it to when the building surveyors are out there measuring on site. What I want to do though is bring this wall down. If you have a look at this brick veneer house a photograph taken during construction, you can see that the top of the slab sits just in there, and obviously the timber stubwork is sitting just on top of it. Notice that the brickwork has been built up from just below the ground line, we presume, to the top of the slab. So what we're going to need to do shortly is separate our wall out, because we need to have our brick coming down lower and our timber slab sitting up higher. So in order to be able to do this, let's have a look at section 1 so we can see what's going on. I'm going to just change my settings, the scale to 1 to 50, and down here in my drawing status I'm going to change my detail level from coarse to medium. So that's what we're looking at. If we flick back here, this brickwork needs to come down lower. Now how much lower this wall needs to come will depend completely on the site and also the footing that needs to be generated by the engineer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the footing in first, so that from that point I can just drag this wall down. So to do that I need to go to the insert button. I am loading a family. You can see over here I've dragged my library straight over here. So I've clicked and dragged, held it down, dragged and dropped, so that going into my library every time eliminates a number of clicks. I'm going to be uploading the profile and model components. So this is a 2D profile that we're creating, and I want the slab edge BV rebaited today. Now, as I mentioned, these slab edges are designed by an engineer. So generally speaking, I create something that's fairly generic at the beginning of a project, and as that information comes in, I will update that 2D component, which makes life much easier. I'm going to do this in a 3D view. So we've done host sweeps before, and a host sweep is where it uses a host, and that host may be a roof, it might be a wall, and it might be a floor, and it takes a 2D profile and it sweeps it around the perimeter or just along the path that you select. So back up here in our architecture, I'm coming to, it's a floor slab edge, I'm going to the floor drop down, I'm coming to floor slab edge. Before I start, I'm going to edit type and duplicate, and I'm going to call it BV slab edge. I'm not changing my material, I'm just going to set that up first. I'm going to select here though, this is our profile, and here's our slab edge that we've just loaded in. This is in our library, in our subject folder. So now I'm ready to go. Can you see it's telling me to click on the slab edge or the floor? Notice as I move over the walls, nothing happens until I come down here to the slab. And then when I do, I've got a choice at the top of the slab or the bottom. Yeah, it's not appearing. I'm just going to move it up a little bit. Alright, hover, tab, click with my left button, and you can see straight up that it's gone and found that slab edge. Let's go and have a look at that in section. Alright, perfect. So what we're going to do in a minute is bring this wall down so that the brick sits on the edge of this concrete, but before we do, I want it to make it look like one seamless So if I select this footing, the slab edge, and I go back into the edit properties, I'm going to change that material to the exact one that I use for the concrete slab. And what you'll notice is that black line that was separating the two disappears, and the same hatch pattern continues all the way through. So now you can see that we're starting to add that detail. It's not a very difficult move, but now as we slide through our drawing whatever interval we need to, we've already got the workings of a good section set out for us. Now, by selecting this wall, I'm going to edit the type properties of this instance. So whatever I do, once I click edit type, whatever I do in here will then adjust every wall that is called basic wall, brick veneer timber. Not every wall in the project, just every one that is called that name, every instance of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm editing the structure. I'm moving into the preview, and I need to be in that section view. So if you're not, change it from drop down here, change it from floor plan to section, and then by rolling my wheel forward and holding the cursor right over exactly what I want to look at. It's a little bit more difficult to zoom in this particular view. So I'm using a combination of zooming in, and moving this up and down. All right, so just to go back, we've got the finish layer, which is the brick on the outside. We've got our air gap, we've got our structure. What I want to do is to be able to manipulate where the brickwork starts and stops. So this is the layer I'm after. I'm going to click on the modify down here. And can you see, as I hover over each three, the little blue line is just appearing. 1, 2, 2, 3. If I click on that blue line, you can see the padlock appear. I'm going to unlock it. That is going to unlock the constraint. I shall zoom out by rolling my wheel. And back up to the top, and in. And whilst I'm here, later on I'm going to need to adjust the top. I might as well set that up ready and unlock. So I select that blue line, and then unlock, and OK. And now you can see that we've got two grip points or controls. And if I wanted, I can just drag and drop. You can see it magnetizes to the top of that slab. I could also use the align tool, selecting where I want it to go, selecting the face of what's going. I can lock that in. If I need to adjust that profile later on, the slab edge, the brickwork will go with it. Now, what we just did, editing that wall, gave it the ability to be able to move in. Doesn't mean that every wall that we have now in the project has changed. So now we need to make all of them match. There's a number of ways of doing them. If I click on this wall, the only one that we adjusted, I can see here this base extension distance is negative 172. So a fairly easy way of doing that would be to select all of your walls. So I'm right-clicking on that wall, select all instances in the entire project. Obviously, in this particular one, visible in view would also work. And down here under base extension distance, which incidentally was not available to us until we edited that wall. And they can all adjust. Another way of doing that might have been to use the match properties. It's up here under modify. And match properties looks and works exactly like match properties in AutoCAD, and match properties in Revit, and Word. So I'm going to click on the wall. Can you see over here? Everything I now touch. Sorry. So I click on the wall that I want it to be like, and then I click on the wall that it is going to be like.